Here are 5 backfield battles that will make or break your 2025 fantasy football team. Let's start out with the New York Giants backfield. Two-man race right now. We got Tyrone Tracy. We got Cam Scadaboo. Tyrone Tracy is going inside the top 30 running backs in drafts. And yes, he was some semblance of a league winner last year. Not huge points every week, but certainly somebody you got on waivers or super late in the draft, and he really came through for your team. Overall season numbers, over 1,100 scrimmage yards, 5 touchdowns. But here's the deal. We saw him have a ramped up workload before the bye. There were 4 or 5 weeks he was getting lead running back work, and he was producing Tyrone Tracy for fantasy. After week 11, the workload went down. We saw him have 4 of his last 7 games, 9 or 10 carries, no longer that big double-digit workload. We saw his yards per carry go down, the overall efficiency. At running back 29 in drafts, first, it's too rich. Second, we'll talk about Cam Scadaboo in a minute. This is a thunder and lightning backfield now. Remember, both running backs can catch the ball, but Tracy was a converted wide receiver. So we are looking at Tyrone Tracy probably getting that receiving role, maybe getting some change of pace work. But that said, at his ADP, not close. If he was running back 36 or outside of that, yeah, I'd be interested at that point. Now we go to Cam Scadaboo. Yes, he was a day 3 pick, but he was the 3rd pick of day 3. So borderline day 2 pick, 4th round, 3rd pick. Scadaboo is going a little later than Tracy in drafts. He's going as a running back 33. Now, that said, Scadaboo comes in 219 pounds, but he runs hard. And remember, the NFL is full of light boxes, 2 linebacker sets. Linebackers weigh less than ever. Teams are playing the pass. Cam Scadaboo is going to be effective at being a power runner at his size in the league. He also should be the favorite for goal line work. He can catch passes, but again, Tyrone Tracy's better at that. So I say the cheaper piece of this backfield is Scadaboo. They have different roles likely here. But I think you're drafting Cam Scadaboo right near that running back 33 ADP because I feel his role will carry over week to week in this offense, and he is going to catch some passes as well. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys backfield, and oh, what a headache this one is going to be. The first running back drafted among this group is Javonte Williams, who's going around running back 40. And, well, the reason is, then Dallas will talk later about Jaden Blue. Dallas didn't address running back in the draft until the 5th round, which is not much of an investment. Javonte Williams, he has become very inefficient. When he suffered the knee injury a few years back, we thought it was recovery from that. He's way removed from that. And last year, 26th percentile yards after contact, 36th percentile broken tackle rate. Very inefficient runner. Denver tried to give him opportunities, and he had a couple of good games, but they couldn't keep him on the field. They were rotating players like Blake Watson, Tyler Bidet, and at the expense of Javonte Williams. And if Sean Payton, who needed a running back, couldn't count on him, it's going to be tough for Dallas. Now, what does Williams have going for him? He's good in pass protection. He can catch 50 passes in a season. We've seen that. So he can be definitely worked in there. He's also, look, interior-wise, he can give you a physical run presence. So Williams has the most stable skill set, but at running back 40, he's the most expensive piece. And if you're confident he wins that role outright, great. But it looks like a backfield that's going to go back and forth all year. So I don't want the most expensive piece. Jaden Blue is the running back 50 or so in drafts. Now, I profiled Blue coming into the league as a receiving and a change of pace back and tested extremely well. Explosiveness, speed, over 93rd percentile. So that was great. But in the receiving game, I see him as a player that really has to develop as a pass protector, and that's a big part of this. The offensive line in Dallas isn't great right now, and Dak Prescott's going to need to be protected. So Jaden Blue is going to have to earn his way through. And in terms of a runner, the size, you can't probably give him a whole lot of carries. So he looks like a rotational back, but if Jaden Blue puts together any type of positive training camp, moving past Javonte Williams isn't an issue. So if you're going to take a shot for the upside, I think Blue is in the vicinity of that player at running back 50. You take that shot on him. Again, 10 running backs cheaper than Javonte Williams. There's the value there. And I think you take that chance. Now, Phil Maffa, going undrafted in most fantasy drafts, 6th round back. He's a big back. If he comes in camp and he comes in and he looks like he could be an early down grinder, he could cut into work at the expense of both Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue. But again, counting on a 6th round player, not always excited about that. And then there's Miles Sanders being drafted on running back 83. Look, he had the great week 18 game for Carolina last year when subs were playing, but he has not been a factor since he left Philadelphia. So I don't know that he has any ability to cut into anybody's workload. Really, in my mind, it's going to be mostly a Jaden Blue, Javonte Williams as the pieces you're looking at. If you enjoy videos like this, consider hitting the like and subscribe button. Also, we're offering 15% off all RotoWire products. Go to rotowire.com, pick your favorite product, and use the code YouTube15 to score your 15% discount. A subscription gets you access to tools like our mock draft simulator and the picks and props tool. All right, let's get to that Jacksonville Jaguars backfield. So the most expensive piece right now is Travis Etienne, although his cost will probably drop throughout the summer. He's being drafted as a borderline bottom-end running back 3. But look, we saw his efficiency tank out last year. 16th percentile broken tackle rate, 34th percentile yards after contact. He was in decline. We saw Tank Bigsby take significant work from Etienne, and then the team drafts Bashal Tutin, and even late in the draft, 7th round, LaQuint Allen. So that said, it really looks like the organization has soured on Etienne. It's the last year of his contract, and so betting on him is a tough bet. I like the idea of Etienne when we had Liam Cohen, the new coach, coming in to run the offense, but I think with the competition, I think the most expensive piece of this backfield is one I don't want. Now, Bashal Tutin coming in at running back 38 or so in drafts. Now, Tutin's interesting because he ran that combine time 100th percentile 40. But here's the problem. Agility, 19th percentile. So to me, and his scouting tape showed me, he's a straight line runner. How many guys in the NFL do you see popping off 60-yard runs? It's very rare. It's a league that's limiting explosive plays. So Tutin without wiggle, he's a nice change of pace guy. But realistically, I don't know how much we're getting out of a straight line speed runner. And his ADP is a little bit pushing the envelope. And I'm a little concerned at drafting him because I think he is going to be a lesser part of a committee. And then that brings us to the third piece, Tank Bigsby, running back 42. Now, Bigsby was up and down last year. He had a couple really, really nice stretches. Now, 96th percentile yards after contact, 80th percentile broken tackle rate. Don't know if he can continue that. But look, when he was given work, especially when he spiked in weeks 4 through 8, he played well. Now, he did slide later in the season. I still think Bigsby at running back roughly 42, the third cheapest piece of this backfield. I think he is the one to invest in. He has the best chance of goal line work. He has the best chance of early down work. My guess is that Tutin or Etienne would serve as a change of pace. And I think Bigsby's role seems pretty safe. Now, LaQuint Allen, late 7th round pick. Overall, that seems a change of pace, pass catcher. I think he would need some dominoes to fall, players to miss time for him to have any opportunity. So I'm basically leaving him off. Keelan Robinson was drafted last year. Again, I don't think he's in the mix just yet. Let's go to the Chargers backfield. Omarion Hampton, round running back 14 in drafts. Najee Harris, round running back 30. Look, Harris is paid over $9 million in a 1-year deal. No commitment long-term, but they paid him starter money. Hampton has that first-round draft capital. The coaches have already said they're both going to play. And I think that's how it's going to start. But I think Hampton is going to prove to be much more talented than Harris. So I think early season, you might look at a 55-45 lean toward Hampton. But I think as the season goes on and we see what Hampton is expected to be and what we think he will be in terms of a very, very strong, fast runner, fast in terms of explosiveness. Obviously, his time speed isn't great because he is such a big back. I think that he does emerge as the leader in the backfield. But I think drafting at running back 14 is a bit of a question because the issue there is if he even gives a 30% of the work, it might be too much. So Najee Harris, again, I think at running back 30, it's a somewhat fair cost, but I expect his role to fade as the season goes on. And in that scenario, I think overpaying for him, unless you draft him and trade him early in the season, I think you fade him. Finally, let's give a quick little talk to the Saints number 2 role. Alvin Kamara is still entrenched as the starter, but he is aging. He did miss a little time last year. Devin Neal was drafted this year. He's going as the running back 57. Kendre Miller, who has been disappointing and injured for a few years, is the running back 81. I think clearly the fantasy community realizes Devin Neal is next in line. Now, we don't know what his camp will be like, but it's a cheap price to pay for a running back that has burst, vision, receiving skills. He can be a 3-down type back. So I do think passing Kendre Miller is easy. I think if you're going to bet on getting Kamara backed up, or if you want to invest in a secondary option in the backfield, I think Devin Neal is a great way to go.